Randy T-Bird here, coming to you from the apocalypse. Just kidding, that's probably a little bit too dramatic. Anyway, out for a ride. Trying to shake the housebound blues, such as it is. I'm just enjoying the day. Looks like it's starting, the clouds are starting to clear up a little bit. Get some sun on us here. Nice and warm today. Supposed to be in the mid to high 70s today. That's nice. We're gonna enjoy this cool weather while it lasts. Lots of bikes out today, lots of bikes. Just had a conversation with several riders that were just out enjoying the day as well at the gas stop. It's kind of weird, you can't even, this place that I go to has some tables where you can sit around and drink a soda, jaw jack with people or whatever, and all of the tables are pushed aside with a barrier around them. It's like they're taking all this stuff real seriously, I guess. So, well, I ain't around anybody on the bike, so that's my social distancing plan. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope you're maybe getting some miles out. But Arizona doesn't have a really long spring. It turns to summer pretty fast, so we're gonna enjoy it while we can, and then I will be switching to my early morning videos again as I get up real early when it gets hot. Anything in June and beyond gets really hot. So, I love the way the sky looks this time of year with the high thin clouds, and you can see the vapor trails from the planes going past, and just very cool. I guess in my old age I've just come to appreciate things like that. Good views of the mountains, being outside, being away from the hustle and bustle and the rush and the crush and whatever you want to call it, the craziness that I work with, email hell, and just enjoy the day. I've done as much polishing on my bike this week as I possibly can, you know, while I wasn't able to do anything else. Arizona hasn't gone into lockdown yet, although they did close the restaurants and the bars. You can still go into restaurants, but you only get to go, which I absolutely hate eating to-go food. It seems like it's cold by the time you get to where you're going, and I hate eating in my car or on the side of the bike. To me, it's just not relaxing. If I gotta eat something like that, I might as well just make a sandwich or something. I'm thinking about doing that. They still got food in the stores, so. Anyway, Highway 87. Nice day. Desert's nice and green. Like I said, a ton of bikes out on the road today. I think people are just digging the great day. Had to buy a new lawnmower yesterday. The gas-powered lawnmower I had was less than 2 years old and has already died. The motor says Briggs & Stratton on it, but you know it was made in China, and just nothing, it seems like nothing's made to last anymore. I mean, just try and buy stuff that isn't made in China these days. If I find something that's made in Japan or South Korea anymore, I'm surprised. So I ended up buying, first time I've ever owned an electric lawnmower, and got to put it together and everything, and it works. And I was kind of surprised at how much noise it makes. You know, I thought electric was supposed to be whisper quiet, and my grandson asked me if I was vacuuming the yard because it sounds like the vacuum cleaner. That was pretty funny. Speaking of electric, been to the Harley shops a few times in the last couple months. What I'm told is that livewire is absolutely generating no interest whatsoever. I mean, I don't have any interest in it, even as a toy. For $30,000, let's just face it, it's too much money for a curiosity. You know, electric vehicles may become a thing in the future. I don't think they're going to become a thing that soon, and they're, you know, 95-mile range combined city highway. You know, unless you live in the central city or you're just making short trips, you know, other manufacturers got that covered. And yeah, the Harley, the Livewire has top shelf hardware on it and everything, and it should for $30,000. But for me, why? And I know some people out here think that electric is the way to go in the future. Well, that future is not here yet, in my opinion. Battery life is too limited, and that's, to me, that's the crux of the whole thing, is battery life is limited. You know, you can't go in Arizona, everything's wide open, and to go anywhere to enjoy anything is anywhere from 50 to 100 miles or more, and you just can't. For me, a motorcycle, you got to be able to do anything on it, from short trips to long trips, down to the store or across the state to different states, whatever. And that bike is just not made for that. And if it was $15,000, maybe, but at $30,000, So if you disagree with me, feel free to say something. I got no problem with that. But for me, it is a non-starter, and apparently for a lot of other people it isn't either, because the dealers are getting no interest at all. So that said, there are people are still buying Sportsters, they're still buying Dynas, or not Dynas, but the new Softails, and that continues on. And obviously they're buying baggers, because man, there sure are a lot of them out there. There was a lot of talk about the Indian Challenger, and everybody was talking about how wonderful that is, which I thought was kind of funny, because nobody had actually ridden one, but they're talking about how wonderful it is based on the specs. I have a few friends that rode them, and they said it was pretty cool. But you know what? I haven't seen any, and I'm sure a few have been sold. I do see the Indian, the Chieftains, and the other ones out, but compared to Harley Davidson's, Honda's Metric Cruisers, Goldwings, BMWs, it's really, really a small amount compared to the rest. So, you know, I hope Polaris is able to continue with the Indian line. I think the FTR 1200 is a cool bike. But, you know, the Challenger, I've seen it in person, and man, there's a lot of plastic. That fairing is huge. The Harley Road Glide, the fairing is pretty big, but you take that and you multiply that by a factor of 1.5 or 1.75. That's how big that fairing is on the Challenger. Just don't like it. Just don't like it. I don't find any reason to own that motorcycle. Now, if Indian was to come up with something in the Dyna Softail range, I think that would be pretty cool. I think that Harley left a big void when they got rid of the Dynas, and I've had several myself, and I really like Dynas. Don't get me wrong, I do like the new platform a lot too. I love this bike. I think it handles better, but the Dyna just had a connection to the past that the new ones don't have, in my opinion, or don't have as much of. I mean, the old twin shocks, say what you will about twin shocks, they look right. You know, and I know there's more to riding motorcycles than the looks, but at the end of the day, I think that's how people buy things, is they buy it by what it looks like. You know, there's a lot of weird Herald looking motorcycles out there that probably work better, but people don't buy them in any great numbers. And if you remember, Bimota made this thing back in the 90s called a oh hell, I don't even remember the name of it anymore, but it had this strange looking teak wood dash on it, and it was a really odd looking bike. And then they made the things with the front swing arm suspension and everything on it, Bimota Tezzi. That was kind of, you know, it was an exercise in engineering, but they sure did look weird, you know. And I think the Italians got the sport bike thing nailed. I mean, their bikes are beautiful, they're works of art. There was a guy earlier today at the gas stop that had a 1098, and just beautiful. It had the dry clutch on it, and that sound is an amazing sound. I love the sound of a Ducati dry clutch. They just sound like power and style. But anyway, back to what I was saying, it was people buy based on what something looks like, and a lot of the sport bike guys, they have this thing, but a Harley doesn't do this and a Harley doesn't that. You know what? They don't have to. People buy them because of the looks, because of the style, because of the heritage, and that's what they're into. You know, and if you're into sport bikes, then, you know, I'm 100% behind you. Buy your sport bike and ride it. I mean, because that's obviously what you're into. You know, it's like, you know, people buy SUVs because they like what they do, and other people have to buy a Mustang GT or a Corvette because that's what they're into. You know, and one man's style is another man's impracticality. I mean, I had a Mustang back in the early 2000s, and it was absolutely unusable for anything other than driving. I mean, I couldn't carry anything in it. I bought my kid a bicycle, and I had to call somebody to come get the bicycle because there was no way I could get it into the car at all. Even disassembled, would not fit in the grocery carrier. They call a trunk on that, and being a two-door, I couldn't squeeze it in the back seat. The back seat in a Mustang is pretty much an upholstered package shelf anyway. But anyway, foothills are looking great, nice and green. The cactuses, I love the way the cactuses silhouette against the hillsides here. They're just this time of year, the green is back. Coming up over this rise here, this little pass. I guess it's not really a pass, just a cut out through the mountains, and then you come down to this valley. The view is awesome. Man, I can't even imagine living anywhere without mountains. I just don't think I would even be impressed, unless it had an ocean. And I feel kind of the same way about the oceans as I do with mountains. I could just sit and look at them. And no, do they not do anything? No, they don't do anything, except they just look awesome. Kind of a calming effect to me. I just love this valley up here. I don't even know what it's called. This road here, back many years ago, used to be 2 lanes, and if you got caught behind a truck and trailer, it could take you hours to go an hour-and-a-half trip. Being stuck, there was nowhere to pass, and people did stupid things, passed at places that they shouldn't have, and there were a lot of accidents. And they redid this highway, made it 2 lanes. We have a highway in Arizona, I-17, that runs north of Phoenix to Flagstaff, Arizona. And the traffic on that highway, the interstate, has gotten so bad that you have rush hour like conditions on the weekends going south back into the Phoenix area. Pardon me. I hardly ever take 17 anymore just because of that. Now you can take 87 up here and cut across the 260 and catch the northern part of 17, which is still okay. Anyway, it's Randy T-Bird. I'm going to sign off. I hope you all have a good time. Subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Subscribe if you don't, and tell me what you want to see. Anyway, where's Randy T-Bird? Signing off. Bye.